Hey, before we get into this video, if you like content like this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe so I can keep the content going and it can reach other people who may find this interesting as well. So, before we start this video, if you're unfamiliar with Pastor Dwayne Dawkins, who I did a video on a few months ago, he is the Downlow Married Pastor and father of 3 who actively preaches against homosexuality, who was caught having gay sex with a gay male OnlyFans model who he allowed to record him and place on his OnlyFans, allegedly. Now here's just a brief reminder before we get into the new content.
There may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal.
You say what, Pastor?
There may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal.
Hold on, Pastor, one more time.
There may be homosexuals and lesbianism in your family line, but it's not normal.
So look what we have here. So today we're going to talk about accountability. So when we think about accountability, the definition again, because you know I like to deal with definitions, required or expected to justify actions or decisions, responsible, taking ownership. So a few months ago, I did a video on a Downlow Married Pastor who was exposed for having sex with an OnlyFans gay model and allowing him to record it and post it on his OnlyFans to monetize. Now, that was my first viral video, and that video may actually be the reason a lot of you were introduced to me. So, the pastor was Pastor Dwayne Dawkins, a married man out of Florida with 3 children again. Remember, he allowed himself to be recorded. He allowed the man to post it on OnlyFans and then tried to lie and say that he was unaware and da-da-da-da. Now, that was a very iconic video and I broke it down to the T. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll post a link in the description so you can go and catch up before you watch this because we're about to update. So let's fast forward to November 2022. Pastor Dwayne Dawkins recently sat down with Cocktails with Catrice and spoke for the first time publicly in about a year since all of the information went viral. Now, mind you, I did my video a few months ago. I am not a T page. I'm not a gossip page. So my video was pertaining to Downlow Men. That's why my video was recent. But this all happened about a year ago. So I want to talk about what Pastor Dwayne Dawkins said and what he didn't say in his most recent interview with Cocktail with Catrice. So this was a leaders in training conference. I don't know, some type of, girl, I'm not religious, so I don't know if it's a Christian conference. I'm going to stay out of that. It said leaders in training. So he starts off by saying, I linked up with a person from the same gender. So I connected with an individual from the same gender. The individual and I ended up having a sneaky link. Now, he did admit that he's always struggled with his sexuality since he was a little boy. And although he felt that he was anointing and was called from the higher power, he never had a chance to really deal with those emotions and feelings that he had for the same gender. So, of course, what did he do? Suppress them like most Downlow men. But we'll get to that. Let me tell y'all what he said first, and then I'll get into what I have to say. So, he says, we had a connection. Before we had a connection, he asked me if he could record it. I told him yes. So, I knew I was being recorded. He said, again, he called it a sneaky link, which I think is so disgusting. For you as a married man with 3 kids to be cheating on your wife with a man and say it's a sneaky link. How disgusting is that? Anyways, so he says, I agreed to be recorded. He says, a few hours after I left, the person ended up posting it on their OnlyFans. And then he kept saying, the person is an OnlyFans model, so they're an adult entertainer. That's how they make majority of their money. Why are you talking so much about this person and placing so much blame on this person? I want to hear about your role. Let's take accountability for what you did. I, as a married man who says I am called from the higher power and anointed, still stepped out on my wife and my family to go have sex with a man. That's what I want to hear. This is why I don't have compassion for these guys, because they still don't take accountability, and no one forces them to really be accountable for these things. Like, he gets to come on this conference and make it about the man. So the gay man is the issue because he recorded it. Not the issue isn't the fact that you're a married man with 3 kids who is up there preaching against the same thing that you're doing privately. So anyways, he goes, when that happened, I'm a married man with 3 kids, so that ruined my family. That ruined my job because I'm a preacher as well. That ruined my life. That made me want to commit suicide. Oh, you're the victim. The man who stepped out on his wife and his family to have sex with a gay man after he had probably just got off the pulpit from preaching against it. You're the victim. Y'all can have it. If I'm unsympathetic, y'all can have it. I don't have compassion for these men. Let's talk about your role for a minute. So that's why I brought up accountability. Let's talk about when you went up in front of your congregation and preached against homosexuality and said it was unnormal. Told people that if they have family members that were LGBTQ, their family members were unnormal. Let's talk about the harm that caused. Let's talk about how you made the LGBTQ members of your congregation feel. Even LGBTQ members, family members of your congregation feel. When you preach things like that, people really take that to heart. And those people go home and they transfer those feelings to people around them who are undeserving. And you sit your ass up and you get to benefit and profit off of it. And then you get to go home and kiss your wife and kiss your kids goodnight while you sneak over to a gay man's house and have gay, lustful sex. But you think you're going to be a victim. No, you won't be a victim today, not with me. So this is what bothers me. How does an anointed pastor and father of 3, who's also married and preaches against homosexuality, connect with a person of the same gender who is a gay adult entertainer and end up having gay sex? How did that happen? Like, you don't just get to tell us you connected with someone of the same gender. How did that happen when you're preaching against that? How do you connect with someone of the same? How did it happen? That's the story that we want to hear. That's the story that's going to help other download men live in their truth. How do you, as a man who feel that you have a calling from the higher power, still manage to have a connection with the same gender? How are you still attracted to the same gender? Why are you still having gay sex? Like, be an authentic person for a second. Like, I would have respected this man so much more, and I would have really came on here and gave him grace if he would have just been honest. But I will not have compassion for anyone who tries to tear down people for doing the same thing that they do privately. Tear down people for being honest and living in their truth and just wanting to be stand-up people with the same rights as everyone else. And you're a hypocrite at that. You're a download man. You married a woman and you had a family to cover up the fact that you were attracted to men. And then in my previous video, I remember you saying that you had already had that type of indiscretion in your marriage once before this happened. So this is an ongoing thing. So you don't get to come at us like this is a one-time thing, like, oh my God, I had a connection with someone of the same gender. You're a married man with children who is still having sex with men. That's what it is. I'm going to get with you. Why was there so much talk about the OnlyFans model? We want to talk about you. We want to talk about how this prestigious, well-known pastor who actively preaches against this lifestyle managed to be caught in such a scandal. That's what we want to know. We know he's a gay OnlyFans model. We already know those things. We know he recorded it. We know you agreed to it. We know he posted it. We know those things. I'm sorry to the straight community, but y'all just accept anything because gay people, we don't just go for this mumbo jumbo BS. Girl, tell us something that we don't know. Tell us that even though you preached against it and you feel that you're anointed and you have a high calling, you still have those feelings and desires and wants for the same gender. And although you suppress them as much as you can, they don't go away. So when they don't go away, you have to find a way to satisfy those cravings. And how did you satisfy them? With a gay OnlyFans model. Now that's the real tea. Then he goes on to say there's usually grace for heterosexual falls, but, in our community, there's not a lot of grace for same gender or homosexual falls. Okay. And who perpetuates that? You sat your ass up in front of a congregation on camera and perpetuated that. So you don't get to use that as an excuse for why your ass didn't come out when you're a perpetrator. How dare you? You disgust me. You ain't no damn victim. You a grown-ass man who was attracted to another man and decided to go pursue that man and have sex, and you allowed him to record you knowing the predicament it would place you in, knowing the circumstances, knowing the lifestyle that you lived. Now you want to talk about you're a teacher and basically trying to act like you're the poster boy for this type of life. You ain't no poster boy because you're still not living in your truth. You still ain't came to us with the real tea. We don't have the real tea from you. The poster boy is going to be a man who's going to come out and tell us exactly why he lived this lifestyle, what made him think he had to do this, what does he realize now, how will he live differently. He apologized to anyone that he may have hurt or any harm that he may have contributed to in someone's life by preaching that ignorance that you preached. But you don't really give a damn. And that's why you don't get nothing from me. Girl, y'all, I was disgusted listening to that little 4 minutes. I think that it contributes nothing. I learned nothing insightful. There was nothing enlightening about it. He didn't really answer anything. He told us the same things that we already knew when he got exposed. He is one of those men who will continue to live in denial. And hey, he did say that he was bisexual. So, also he's coming out as bisexual. And this is the thing with the LGBTQ. Y'all can go ahead and wrap y'all arms around this man all y'all want to, but y'all saw what he preached up on that stage. And if he doesn't give a public apology to LGBTQ, he does not deserve our support one bit. But y'all grown. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. But we're back, y'all. Thank you for being patient with me. I know it's been a little while. I'm trying to be consistent. I do love y'all. I appreciate the comments. I'm always reading them, even if I'm not posting videos. And I'll see y'all next time.
He was a down low brother. Down low.